Welcome back to a special edition of the Fantasy Football Report. I'm here with Hasan and Kevin. We are talking one of my favorite contests of the entire fantasy football season, of course, the FFPC Playoff Challenge. Before we get into that, how was 2024 for you guys?
Sad it's over, man. It was a good year, all things considered, not fantasy related. But it was a good year. I could walk again. That was a big one.
That's big.
But just, just in general, like 2024 was good. It's always a little melancholy, like, as the playoffs start, because like it's like the end of the season, like the end of the holiday season. Everyone's going back to work. Like you have to actually do work now. Like, I don't know, man. But outside of that, it was good. How about you?
Yeah, mine was good. My only good team, unfortunately, or maybe fortunately, I don't know. Only good team I had this year was Scott Fishbowl team, which is awesome to do well in that contest, but unfortunately, is my bank account still a little bit light because of all my losses in the other contests.
Yeah.
This is the bankroll builder contest, dude.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right.
I think Blair and I are gonna be on the Boomer Opto show, which is still being calibrated. I think we're gonna be on it either tomorrow night or the night after. I'm not sure yet. Do we know yet? You didn't, Blair. You didn't respond to that email.
Oh, yeah, I didn't even see it.
I didn't see it either.
All right,
but then I saw it. But yeah, so we're trying to get that going. While we're here, we're gonna. Kevin, we haven't heard from you yet, man.
Yeah, I'm just settling in, getting ready for the new year. Already putting together all the college prospect stuff and just, life stuff, low key. All the holidays were low key, which is exactly how I like it. So
there you go.
Personal life, smooth. Obviously didn't, just like most of us, my fantasy teams weren't great. I had, a few things to cheer for at the end and, luckily came through. But at the end of the day, I'm still definitely in the red this year.
Yeah, it's okay. One of the things is with these prospects, we will be able to make it back. Probably. There's a lot of really good running back prospects in this class, man. I'm very excited.
Definitely.
Yeah.
It's an exciting.
That's been like the take. It's like a lot of really good running back prospects.
Yeah.
I'm not going to turn this into an Ollie Gordon show, but maybe it isn't the Ollie Gordon show. Right?
Yeah. But I've been actually pretty surprised by the tight end class. Seems like it's pretty solid too, especially at the top. Warren looks really good, and obviously like Colston Loveland.
Yeah.
There's a few other guys. It seems like it's at least all the guys that I've looked at too. It's all like literally going to like the split out, the slot tight ends. Like most of the guys that I'd say there's probably like 3 or 4 like straight inline big, blocking tight ends, and all the rest are kind of like just kind of athletic receiving tight end. So I don't know if that's how that's going to really play out. I'm sure not. I think there'll probably be like 1 or 2 that'll probably hit on top of the guys at the top. So we'll see.
It's always fun when those big blocking inline tight ends get drafted pretty high and fantasy managers chase them up the rookie draft boards and let the actually good guys fall to you. But maybe we won't get as much of that this year.
Yeah.
Anyway, the real reason we're here is to talk FFPC Playoff Challenge. I was mentioning this was one of my favorite contests. There's a lot of, I think, strategy that goes into it. Hasan and I have done a lot of these. Kevin, I believe this is your first time ever getting into this playoff challenge.
Yeah, I usually just do all regular. Yeah, I just do regular season fantasy all year because I never did like enough research, I guess, to get into these. So I'm like, no, I'm ready to go. I'm ready to jump in and see how it goes. So,
all right, awesome.
Hang on, I'm just gonna get his rag. Give me a second.
Okay, you're gonna do it. All right. Yeah, no better way to jump in than to buy a team and build it and see what we can do. I think the plan is talk through what we're looking for.
Which one do we want to do?
You want to do the 200? We were talking off air that the 200 is a little bit more favorable.
You got us on the you paid for the FPC teams, the playoffs. So I'll do 200.
Oh well, thanks, man.
You had
Yeah.
credits for those, right?
I had credits for the FPC thing.
FPC,
I don't
yeah.
think I have any credits for the playoff challenge.
Nah, they don't give you that.
Yeah, only regular season stuff.
We need it. I'm just adding you as a co-manager. Hang on. I think
radio.
I think with the ship chasing guys is the whole reason why the FFPC had to like make us a 5-man after our infamous 5-man draft.
Yeah, they didn't used to allow 3 co-managers, but
No, they didn't.
added that
They
capability
saw 5 of us drafting,
lately.
and they were like, "What on earth?"
Yeah. So I mean, what's nice at this point, we know most of the seeding so far. We're still waiting for the outcome of this Lions Vikings game to determine how the NFC is going to shake out. One of those teams will get a bye, the other will get the 5 seed. So that does kind of change how you play this. But yeah, there is well, actually, let's start even before that. Hasan, do you want to kind of go over the rules of this contest for anyone who doesn't know them?
Yeah. So for anyone who doesn't know them, you're only allowed to choose one player from each team in the playoffs. And hang on, there are. I'm trying to pull it up right now. This is probably easier to show you guys.
Yeah.
Once we screen share. And I'm sorry if you're an audio listener, but you really got to get on the YouTube, or you just watch this on YouTube. All right, here you go. So the slate locks at Saturday, January 11th at 4:30 p.m. You can only have one player from an NFL team on your roster. So you can have one quarterback, 2 running backs, 2 wide receivers, 4 flexes, 1 tight end, 1 kicker, and 1 defense. And so, the astute mathematicians among you would notice that this means that there are 2 teams that you have to essentially fully fade in this tournament as you're building out your roster. The game also, there's a little bit of game theory that comes to this. You have to think about like players who you don't want to have, or you want to score the points that others aren't going to score. That's neither here nor there. But that's just to give you an idea, right? So you need, again, to repeat, that's 1 quarterback, 2 running backs, 2 wide receivers, and 4 flexes, and 1 tight end, a kicker, and a defense. So that means you could play up to 5 tight ends if you wanted to. People forget that this is a tight end premium website. It looks like unfortunately, it looks like the player pool is empty.
Well, that's going to be a trick if we don't have a player pool. Maybe we can build this in a spreadsheet.
That is what it's going to have to be.
I didn't even try and register for this one. That's unfortunate.
I added you as a co-owner, so you should be able to see it. But let's say
the
player pool's empty.
All right, so we don't have a player pool. Don't have a player pool yet, and I guess that's because we don't have the actual seeding yet. Although we do know at this point what teams are going to be in it. We can at least talk through it and kind of go from there without actually building the team, right? So
yeah, and then we can put it in here, right? So hang on.
So I guess the other thing to know about this contest, of course, is that the Super Bowl scores double points. So you want to have kind of your highest scoring positions, your highest leverage positions be taken up by players who you think will be in the Super Bowl. I don't know if we think that's who has the best path to the Super Bowl at this point. The Chiefs obviously get a bye. Whoever wins the game tonight gets a bye. That helps, but on the other hand, you miss that one game at the beginning. So how do you usually think about that, Hasan? Are you looking to have your quarterback be a player who's on a number 1 seed, or do you want him to play 4 games?
So that's what actually makes it interesting. Typically, you'd actually want Hey, Joe King, thanks for joining. So typically, you'd actually want, I think you'd want the quarterback in there. Um, I would say, like the one issue with having it with quarterback, or at least the way you think about it, is there's a fairly tight range. Like we were discussing this in terms of best ball. There's a fairly tight range of what these guys have, but there's like there's a handful of good quarterbacks on this slate that can really break it, right? And I really think, and it's a spoiler alert, but who's showing up in the Boomer Opto is Josh Allen. Like Josh Allen, I think is going to be the most rostered quarterback because he's shown absolute slate breaking ability and the potential to play 4 games, right? And if you just don't have Josh Allen in your lineup, you're basically dead on arrival.
That's
and the same goes with Lamar, I guess, if you're thinking of it from that perspective.
That was really, the other name that came to mind.
I think Josh Allen is your jock quarterback.
All right. Maybe that's the best way into this, is kind of talk through, without giving away the entire Boomer Opto, talk through some of the chalk.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of where the Boomer Opto kind of comes from. I think from a few years ago, we came up with it on the spot. Hang on.
I like to think there's a little bit of a difference between the actual chalk and the Boomer Opto, in the sense that
the Boomer Opto.
Boomers sometimes don't play the chalkiest plays if they're if they're smart plays in a certain way.
I don't know, man. I think that kind of almost like defeats the very purpose of like the concept, or at least like it's like almost the same, one of the same, right?
Yeah, for sure. Like, is Lamar? Here's the Boomer argument against Lamar. He's notorious for failing.
The easy. Yeah, exactly. Well, the real Boomer argument is racism, but
well,
we don't want to get into that.
I wasn't going to go there. All right, here we go. We'll just build it in a spreadsheet.
Hey! People were saying Lamar Jackson is injury prone this offseason.
That's
right?
true. Injury prone. He doesn't have it in the playoffs. There's no way he's getting into a Boomer lineup.
Yeah. Yes, but like
zoom in a little bit, maybe.
So I think.
There we go.
There we go. Right. So I think realistically, like when you're building this out, and this probably wouldn't be our final team, but when you're looking at it, right, like just from that perspective, so like once you pick a player, you cannot pick anyone else from that team, right? So if you lock in a Josh Allen, then you just cannot have anybody else from that team. Like you can't also submit James Cook, right? That's like the issue that comes with this, and that's where it makes it so much fun when we start having these conversations. Is that like you have to start figuring out who you want. Like at risk of like giving away the entire Boomer Opto, because it would put to waste the 4 weeks I spent at the Sizzler and the Cracker Barrel. But I think it's fairly easy, right? Like to at least know who the chalk would be. So I think if we're looking to actually like build a team, how do we want to go about it?
Well, let me put it to Kevin. Who, if there were a player in this contest that would be like a must play for you, who would that be?
I mean, top of the head, you guys kind of just said, Josh Allen, just for the fact that I'm not super jazzed about starting James Cook. I feel like Josh Allen and Lamar are the two, when I was looking through the stuff before the show, like those are the two teams I feel the best about making the Super Bowl in the AFC. So like Josh Allen would be the first because Lamar has a lot better options where you could either go, Derrick Henry or Mark Andrews from there. So, I mean, like that's the thing is you don't want to have total chalk though. And that's kind of, where I thought like my head instantly goes Josh Allen. Because James Cook is good. He scores a lot of touchdowns, but at the same time, I think there's better running backs available. So that's kind of where my head would go. But those were the two guys, Lamar and Josh Allen were the two guys that before the show when I was kind of thinking about quarterback options, those were the two guys that came to mind.
Look, I actually have a really good, fun one.
Okay.
We'll probably bring it up tomorrow during the show. But I really think like a low-owned pivot who might get to play 4 games would be Sam Darnold.
That is going to be a low-owned pivot.
Yeah.
For one thing, you're fading Jefferson, who's almost
Yeah,
certainly
who's
the chalk.
I mean, he's most definitely the
Minnesota.
chalk,
That's
right?
pretty
Like,
interesting.
I feel like the Boomer
Give us another column for Galaxy Brain Pivot.
Yeah.
So we
Oh,
can keep track of these.
we just need to get back into like Bat's spreadsheet and like I'll just start putting out notes.
Yeah.
So you guys will probably see this tomorrow. We do run a lot of like teams with those guys, or at least did a couple of years ago. I think and we didn't really place as well as I thought we would. It was the year where like we had like one Mahomes lineup, and that was the one that cashed. I remember. Galaxy Brain is Sam Darnold, but I also feel like another pivot that we're not talking about here is Patrick Mahomes, right? Like,
sure.
Like I think there are definitely better plays, right? But I really do think that like Patrick Mahomes comes in lower owned than either Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, and I mean like we can be very real here. Like he does have similar-ish upside, especially if he's able to like bootleg it in, right? You know, now with Hollywood Brown, like I think that they're going to be kind of will be able to like put together fairly high. Like there are going to be fairly high point totals coming from them.
Yeah,
but.
Yeah, one of the things I want to ask you guys about is, well, I'm sorry to cut you off, but like Jalen Hurts, like how are we feeling about him? Because I know there's so many good options on the Eagles, but they have a good defense. He'll probably be low owned because we have Saquon, AJ Brown, Devontae Smith, like they have all those guys. Is to see somebody you guys would be looking at for something like this.
Oh yeah, so like your chalk. So actually, just do this, right? Like this. We're going to be giving away the entire Boomer Opto here.
Probably not. I bet we'll change it a little.
No, I think I have like it just comes down to like who you fade and hard fade, and then from there the Boomer Opto figures itself out.
I mean, for one thing, there's some chalk that I don't want to play.
Probably. Oh yeah, for sure. Like I don't think we want to
play for this we can talk about chalk that we actually do like. So Saquon, I think, makes sense as a chalky option. Obviously, he's almost impossible to get away from. But yeah, Hurts is an interesting pivot. AJ Brown is actually a little bit less interesting to me, but that probably makes him a good pivot.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Like I actually think that's what makes AJ Brown pretty interesting
because he's not going to get a lot of ownership.
Yeah, but like we're not. I guess do we want to talk to make this easier for everyone to follow along? Do we want to like discuss this on a position by position basis or from a team by team basis?
What do you prefer?
I think just because of the way I've got this spreadsheet set up, I kind of like just doing it like
by position,
position by position.
Sure.
Yeah. This is probably not Buffalo Blue, but why not?
Yeah. So, I mean, you're talking Saquon Barkley, and then who are the other running backs that are possible? There's Henry, there's Bucky Irving, there's Jahmyr Gibbs.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
There's, I guess, Mixon, but I think I'm out on him.
Yeah, like we can get to that in a little bit if you want, but like I think a real Galaxy play, like there are like a handful of like really good running backs. Najee Harris is like a Galbrain play, but like that's like a really bad Galbrain play. You know what I mean? Like that's just like if you have like you're playing like the full 150 teams or whatever, sure, whatever.
Yeah. There's some interesting kind of scenario elements where like if you expect the Bills to do well and you want to play,
I mean realistically like James Cook is a very viable Cook, Josh Jacobs are also very viable.
Yeah, what I'm thinking is the Bills, I think there's no path to them facing the Steelers in round 2, but they could. Yeah. So I don't know if it makes sense to, if you play Josh Allen, to also play a high value Steeler in hopes that they get.
What is a
three to
high
play each
value
other.
Steeler though? Because like that offense has really been on decline.
That's a good question.
Hmm.
I think you're
Like
talking.
I mean like there was like massive issues just with them. Like I think they played the entire first team against the Bengals and they got completely trounced. Like I don't know how much you really want to deal with an imploding team here.
The Steelers are definitely going to be one of the most popular fades, if not the most.
Oh, it's they're like 100% like the hard fade. Right, so hang on, fade.
So does it make sense in a Josh Allen build to try and play a Steeler,
I don't know.
hoping that they beat the Ravens and also beat whoever they would play next and face
I don't. How would they
the
do
Bills in the conference championship?
that? I don't know if they could do that, dude.
I mean, they did it in the regular season.
What, beat the Ravens?
Yeah, and beat some other good teams.
Do you see? Yeah. Well, do you think that's going to continue?
I mean, I don't think it's the most likely. All right. Yeah, we went on a little bit off the rails here, but in terms of running backs, are there other guys that we're missing that either you think are going to be chalky or are worth considering?
I think a guy who's an interesting Galbraith name is and do you think Washington can? What are the odds Washington can beat Tampa Bay?
I like him. Totally forgot about Daniels as a quarterback pivot.
Yeah, I mean, like that's like the thing is because Jaden Daniels with 2 games can probably net you like 45 points, right? That's still not enough because Josh Allen can probably get you that by himself, and he's a pretty much better odds during the Super Bowl.
Yeah. I know we're kind of talking chalk build. You want to slot Derrick Henry into the second?
Are we talking chalk bills? Because now we're just giving away the boomer. Well, we're not really giving it away, right?
I mean, you know what? It's okay to give it away twice. We don't have completely. We don't have.
There's not like a
overlapping
massive
audiences.
overlap, right?
Yeah.
A massive overlap here, right? Actually, this is where it gets fun, right? Because actually, this is not Ravens purple, is it? This is more like Vikings purple.
There we go.
This becomes easy, right? Like, come on, right? So,
right. This is a good way. You kind of. Well, yeah, it's a good way to.
This really isn't Buffalo Blue.
Put in the chalk and then talk ourselves
Talk
off
around,
of,
like, yeah.
There we go. Yeah, that looks good. Talk ourselves off of some of these guys.
Right. And then so now you get down to the flexes, right? And so let's talk whoever, like let's agree on like a couple of fades, right? Like is it gonna be both on the AFC side or is it gonna be on the NFC side? Like who do you want to fade?
Kevin, who are the teams that you have the least confidence in or you're least excited about playing their fantasy options?
I mean, outside of Nico, I'm not really excited about Houston whatsoever. And I feel like there's a good chance in that 4-5 matchup that Chargers actually went out. So I guess, I mean, obviously I'm not excited. I'm not really excited about the Packers outside of maybe, I mean, I kind of lost some love for Jordan Love, not to, depended on that.
Yeah, I think
so. Like
whoa,
the Packers outside of Jacobs.
Don't pivot off that just yet. Has any quarterbacks like stock fallen further? Well, apart from CJ Stroud, it's got to be like CJ Stroud and then Jordan Love, right?
Yeah, he's been brutal.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, the Packers play such an unaesthetically pleasing form of football, dude.
And I don't know what the line will be in this game against Philadelphia, but it's not going to look good for the Packers, I don't think.
I think I should check that out.
Yeah, it must be up somewhere.
I think it's like Ravens by 8 on the look ahead, and then I just didn't look at any of the other ones.
Actually, Eagles by 4. That's what I'm seeing.
That's it.
Yeah.
I like that the Chargers are favored. Traveling on the road.
Eagles by 4. I'm seeing Tampa Bay by 3, which that sounds a little bit optimistic.
That sounds right. Based
I mean,
on
yeah, that's actually because they're at home, so that's basically even. And then Bills by 8.5 over Denver. I'm also seeing, which kind of definitely makes sense. But anybody think Denver might be like a little bit better than your typical 7 seed?
not against the Bills though.
Yeah, maybe not. In any case, yeah, I hear what you're saying about the Texans. I think the difficulty for me with fading the Texans is that the other team that I kind of want to fade in the AFC is the Chargers.
Really? Why?
I mean, who do you play there? McConkey?
I say Lad's got to
Mad
be
McConkey, dude.
Yeah, if you play anybody, it's got to be Lad.
And I guess I'm just not as excited about playing him as I am about
So, but you have to face.
I'd rather play Nico.
Someone.
I know.
You have to face. Remember, you have like 2 fades, right?
Yeah,
I know. So what I'm saying is, I'd rather play Nico than Lad.
Pick the second hard fade, is what I'm saying.
Is it the Rams? Maybe.
That's the one.
The Rams. The Rams are big.
Well, the Rams have a lot of players that are pretty interesting, but they're also going to be playing.
It might actually be Green. Like it could just be Green Bay, dude.
Yeah, it could be Green Bay too.
I say I don't have a lot of faith that the Rams are going to win, but they have so many good players basically Puka and Kyron. They have Puka and Kyron, and I don't really feel like fading either one of those guys. So, like, I don't think they're going to win the first round. Like, it's going to be pretty rough, but at the same time, I don't want to fade those 2 guys.
Yeah. And both of them could put up enough points in a losing effort that you need those. Like, you do have to play, at least 4 players who are going to end up losing in the first round? Maybe more than that. I can't remember. So you hope that, your kicker and defense are 2 of those teams that lose. And your hard fades are the other. And then, okay, there are going to be 2 other players, flexes, hopefully, that lose in the first round. So if it's going to be Puka or if it's going to be Kyron and the Rams losing to either Detroit or Minnesota, that makes sense. I guess we are kind of coming down on the Packers being the other fade.
Yeah, between them you figure, I don't know, because Jacobs might get wrapped up by the Eagles front. I'm thinking more Broncos, because who do you want there, like Sutton or Mims? I mean, he had 2 more touchdowns today, but I mean, I don't know. I don't feel great about playing anybody on that Denver team. I don't know how you guys feel.
That's true. That's a good point. I kind of feel like, this is where it also gets tricky. We can kind of, maybe you pencil Kelsey in at tight end already. Because otherwise, I don't know where you go on Kansas City.
I think.
And if you're not playing,
I think Hollywood Brown becomes like a fun, like low owned pivot.
Yeah.
As does. Oh God, what was the name of the rookie? Xavier Worthy.
I like both those guys, but I think those are guys that aren't gonna probably be in the optimal if the Chiefs are in the Super Bowl. Don't you think? They're probably not going to be.
Yeah, it probably won't be. It'll probably be.
So if you're playing those guys, I wonder if you also play a Bronco, like maybe playing for a Chiefs upset the Chiefs have a bye, not a Bronco. You might also play like. Yeah, what would a Chiefs upset be then? To the Ravens, maybe. No, they can't play the Ravens.
Yeah.
Sorry. The Texans, the Chargers.
Yeah, Texans or Chargers probably.
It does become confusing then. Why don't we, since we're kind of going position by position, let's talk tight end since we're on it. Is it Kelsey or is there somebody else who is more enticing?
Well, I mean, realistically, unfortunately, with the way it's working out and with the way Kelsey's been putting on, like he's actually scored quite a bit. Like I think Kelsey becomes really a chalk tight end.
Yeah.
I mean, realistically, so like our two fades then Steelers and Green Bay.
Let's pencil it in.
Right.
I mean, I think that it's more likely the Broncos are the other fade
I think
for
realistic.
most teams. I think
Yeah,
the chalk is more likely to be Denver.
I think you're actually right. That's kind of how I have it, at least in the Boomer opt out. But like, I gotta ask Pat where his spreadsheet is for that.
Yeah, and the other thing is, do you want to fade two teams both from the same conference?
Well, that's like that's kind of why I don't think that like. I think you just have to like roll with it because there are some viable players on the Packers, right? Like you could like talk yourself into a Josh Jacobs smash.
Definitely. Definitely. I think you can talk yourself into a lot of guys on the Packers. It's harder to talk yourself maybe into guys on the Broncos outside of Sutton, I would guess.
Or the kicker, soft fade, right?
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, I spent some time thinking on this, just getting prepared for tomorrow or whenever this show is.
All right. Who are the must play guys that are left that we haven't on teams that are left? Kevin, who's your top option who plays for a team that we haven't put on the spreadsheet yet?
I mean, at this point, I think it's got to be. I take Puka over Kyron. I don't know if you guys have any sort of
I think that's a
objections to
chalk.
that.
I'd agree with
I don't
that.
have objections, but I think that's a chalk.
Yeah.
I think that I could see Kyron doing well in a loss, but it does seem more likely for Puka to be the one who scores better if the Rams are playing from behind, right?
Yeah. Right. So I think you get Nico. Well, now this is where it gets interesting, right? Because you think you put Nico in here because he is chalk.
Yeah.
Right.
And then I think you put in Bucky Irving. It's either Bucky Irving or Mike Evans.
That's a good question. I prefer Bucky Irving. I think they'll be pretty close, though. I think their percentages will be pretty close.
Yeah, this was Bucky versus Mike Evans, right?
Yeah. Where are you going on that one, Kevin?
I mean, I think it's just a toss-up, really. Yeah. I mean, I can't really say either one way or the other. I think Evans has a better chance of probably getting in the end zone. So, I don't even know if that's true, but
the other thing is it's hard to. I mean, I guess McLaurin becomes kind of an easy play on Washington.
Yeah, so like, he does, right? That's what I was going to ask you. Is like, do you think it's Terry McLaurin, or do you think it's like more of like a soft fade?
I think the way McLaurin has played this year, he's likely to be kind of the only Washington option.
So your soft fades then
besides the kicker.
Hang on. So like, who is like the PK and kicker, right? So like, hang on. I'm not gonna put Nico in then. Right. So if you're saying what, Terry F1?
Now you're testing my knowledge of these teams' kickers.
Yeah. I know
Dicker's
the kicker for Chargers.
Right.
Dicker, Bearbane.
Right.
Yeah, but then you say this is like Chargers K, right?
I think you can say that. That's probably right, unless McConkey's more popular than Collins. In which case you're talking Fairbairn. I think it is probably more likely to be Collins and Dicker than McConkey and Fairbairn.
You think it's going to be? Yeah, I think it's going to be Nico because I think everyone's going to play the Texans to beat the Steelers, right? And sorry, the Texans to beat the Chargers.
Yeah, probably. You said the Chargers were favored?
The Chargers are favored to beat the Texans. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know how much people actually look at that when they're
Follow
setting this
the
line.
gambling stuff, right? Yeah.
Yeah, right. And I think people are more excited about playing Nico than they are about McConkey. So I think it's going to be Nico.
About Nico?
Nico and
Yeah,
Dicker.
because Nico can still put Nico could still put up like 35 points in a loss.
Right.
I think that makes it interesting. Cause I do think I would like to fade Nico for Lad.
That's kind of interesting. I'm kind of okay with.
I don't want to play Nico Collins and then watch the Texans get this shit run out of town. But like you're like watching like fucking them build the plane out of Joe Mixon, right? Like that's just what we were treated to this year for like 17 games.
Right.
And if that like puts you like ahead of like 30% of the teams, then so be it, right?
Right. All right, and then we're talking Bucky, Mike Evans, or
this probably
Bucks
just becomes
defense.
a Broncos DST, right? Like
or Sutton and Bucks defense, kind of. But I definitely think
I think this becomes one of Bucky or Mike Evans, right? So I think Mike Evans is fine.
Now, how much do you think people will care about starting Josh Allen against the Broncos defense?
Not much at all.
Yeah.
Okay. How much do you
like?
think?
Because you should have to like. You should. I think realistically, like the Boomer Opto is going to look a little different to this. When we discuss it, but like I think like there is still like some element of like truly eating the chalk, right? Like because you got Puka versus Kyron, right? This makes it easy. Terry F1. I think Terry F1 is interesting because I could see like the defense there, Washington being like a little popular as well. This is a soft fade, right?
That's true.
For the kicker, I think the kicker is Austin Sly, right?
Washington's kicker.
Yeah.
I think it's Zane Gonzalez currently.
Zane Gonzalez. I don't even know who Austin Sly is.
He sounds like a kicker.
He sounds like a kicker. I mean, like I also called Youngwei Koo the wrong name on stream last time, right? So because I forgot, I actually have him on Dynasty rosters and I forgot his name. So that shows you how much. That shows you that I'm gonna slowly experiencing me losing my mind in real time.
Well, this is a good starting point, I think, to talk about.
Wait for tomorrow when we're gonna actually unveil it. I think.
Yeah, right.
Tomorrow or not.
But I think this is a good. You can talk about pivots from here. You can talk about.
No, it is Zane Gonzalez. What do you know?
Yeah. Do these all make sense? Does it make sense? Like I'm looking at Josh Allen and Derrick Henry, probably the most likely second round matchup we're gonna get. Does it make sense to play your quarterback and running back in I guess the most likely scenario is one of those teams is out in the second round.
Yeah, the one thing that I was.
Go ahead.
I was to say the one thing I was thinking, just looking at that, like the Henry thing too. Even not even to say he's going to probably have a great game against the Steelers in round one as well. I was trying to look it up real quick in the NFL Stat Explorer, but I don't think he did too well in the first two games against them. So I was wondering if there was some sort of pivot off of Henry as far as which Raven. I mean, really the only other Ravens, I'm assuming that because we don't even know if Zay Flowers is going to be back healthy.
Zay is not going to play. I think that was announced today.
Yeah.
So in their first game, Derrick Henry had 12.5 PPR points. In their
I mean,
second game, he also had 20. So I guess it's not as bad as I thought it was.
but this is also. I just think people are going to play Derrick Henry because they're playing the Ravens to go to 3 games.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's right. But then you're probably playing.
And because of Zay Flowers going out, you're going to see a lot more people gravitating towards Mark Andrews.
This is a good question. Like, is Flowers just off the
No.
table entirely?
Yeah, I think you're fine with him an underdog. I don't know how much you want to play him on this. I think he becomes a really sneaky play, but like even then it becomes questionable, right? Like you're already missing out on like what he could bring you, and you're missing out on a potential like a really good Mandrews like performance. And like what is good, I guess it's a little relative because there's no cost to it, right?
I mean, one thing that does become interesting if Flowers is not going to play next week, and I mean, who actually knows how much time he's going to miss? Maybe Bateman becomes
Rashad Bateman.
Yeah, maybe
Very
Bateman
low.
becomes a decent play. He's come on.
Bateman
pretty
feels like a
strong in
better
the
play.
second half of the
Yeah, but he
season.
feels like a much better play in the 35 than the 200. Although if that's what we wanted to do, I regret buying this team. And we should have bought 4 or 5 like 200 teams and just gotten buck wild.
I mean, you don't want to just play all chalk in the 200, though.
No, you don't.
All right, so
but you can't. But like in the 200, you can go down to Bateman.
I think it makes sense to pivot off of one of Josh Allen or Derrick Henry.
I think you should pivot off of Derrick Henry. Call it a day. Put Bucky Irving in there.
All right, so you want to do Irving, and then what I'm saying is Irving for Henry, Bateman for Evans, but we could also do Mark Andrews.
Yeah, I think that becomes a little easier, right? So you take Josh Allen here, right? So you play that. That's fine. Right, and then you play. What did we just agree to?
Bucky Irving in the second running back spot.
Do we really want to play a Saquon?
Well, so the Eagles, I guess, unless we think that's another thing, because if the Bucks win, they most likely are going to face the Eagles in the second round.
So what, Mark Andrews here, right?
So that also becomes.
Or did you say Bateman? Would you rather go Rashad Bateman?
I'd kind of rather go Bateman, but I don't want to get too crazy if you think that's insane.
I don't know, man.
I think it's an A. I'm not sure. I could be wrong.
It is an A. I was not even close with my vowels. I'm gonna pretend like I was close.
So. My thoughts are: how do you guys feel? Do you think that Amon-Ra is going to be super, super chalk and Jahmyr Gibbs is going to be low, or do you think they're going to be pretty equal?
Yes, I think it's going to be very, very chalk.
I think that's I would agree. I don't think Gibbs is going to get quite the ownership of Amon-Ra. I'd be really tempted. Now that you said that, to do Gibbs here and then go maybe.
Yeah, see, historical anomalies is saying Mark Andrews might be sneaky. We'll see. We'll see about the
Bateman stuff. He might be.
He might be. I think for this team, I really just want to fade the Texans, man.
Okay.
Yeah. But let's get through some of it and then we can discuss it, right?
Well, let's put Gibbs in at running back as well, because like we were saying with these two teams that will probably face each other, I just don't. Maybe I'm being a little bit maybe I'm overthinking that, but I wonder whether it would make more sense to have like.
Well, like, the thing is with Gibbs is he's gonna get like what I actually like about Gibbs is that he's got like the backfield all to himself, right? Like,
yeah. Like, do you think that in a game where the Eagles play the Bucks,
I mean, there's nothing to say we can't play 3 running backs.
That's true too.
Right?
But my question is, in a scenario where the Eagles play the Bucks, do you think that Saquon and Bucky Irving both score well?
No.
Yeah.
That's what makes you nervous with Bucky Irving, because, but like I forget now. Are the Eagles more of a run funnel? I think so.
That's a good question.
Someone pull up the RotoViz tools.
Here, tell you what, I have this tool right here that I'll pull up, and then I'll show you what things look like. These aren't updated for. All right, let's suppose Tampa Bay plays Philadelphia. Giving you a behind the scenes peek at how the
Wait, you want me
sausage
to
is
stop
made
sharing?
here.
You got the wrong read pulled up. That's
Yeah. So this is a theoretical matchup between the Eagles and the Bucks.
Ooh, look at this.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't think I have access to this.
No, you probably
I think they
don't.
kicked me out of the website, actually.
Eagles are actually pretty good at defending both.
They're really good at defending the pass. I know that for a fact.
Right. They probably are closer to a run funnel, but if you look at this,
I mean, they're a good defense, like all things considered. But
Right,
like, if you had to attack them one way, do you want to take the risk of attacking them through the air, where they like, actually have been impregnable, or you take a risk with them on the ground? And Bucky's been just that good.
that's true. I guess the question also is about whether the Eagles score so many points that the Bucks don't have a choice. I mean, the other thing is the Bucks are like a really good run defense too. So can Saquon put up these numbers against this kind of defense? You know?
Yeah. Well, even looking at, I'm just looking at your article from last week, and I mean, it looks like, for the most part, the Eagles are tough against the run, but they have, like they don't stack the box very often, is what I'm looking at on my screen. So maybe Bucky might be the play on that one but maybe they're just D-line is so good that they don't need to stack the boxes. Maybe what it comes down to, because there's still a whole lot of red there.
They are the 10th easiest matchup in terms of yards after contact allowed. I mean, I like Bucky even if he does face the Eagles, but I guess the thing is, if you're playing Bucky to score really well, are you maybe playing for an Eagles or Packers?
You're probably playing for an Eagles loss, right?
What's that?
You're probably playing for like an Eagles loss.
Yeah, for the Packers
at
to
the
win.
same time, I don't know if the Packers will lose. I mean, I don't think the Packers will win, but like the Bucks could be like a sneaky team where if they win one or two games, well, hang on. Yeah, they beat the pants off the Eagles not that long ago.
Who did?
The Buccaneers.
Yeah. Last year in the playoffs, right?
Well, they also beat them early this year.
Oh.
Like, it was like way early in the season. Yeah. It was way early in the season, but they beat them.
Right.
That was when they still had Chris Godwin, though.
Right.
But like Baker Mayfield lit them up.
So is that a Bucky, AJ Brown kind of game where?
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Is like if you're gonna do that, and don't you want AJ Brown?
All right.
Like,
Share your
of all
screen
the
again.
people. Oh, back to me.
Yeah.
This is like becoming like work where everyone's like, "Oh, can you see my screen now? How about now?" That's right. This entire podcast took a corporate turn, and no one called us out on it.
Let me see if I can. Am I able to share my screen while you're sharing yours?
No, that's impossible.
Or does it kick you out?
Kicks me out. So, what do you think? Like,
No, it didn't. All right, that's fine.
Wait, are we sharing two screens? It's impossible.
Well, I can just switch back and forth now. Okay. Yeah, let's put AJ Brown in there. We got Gibbs in there. We don't know whether the Lions are going to get that bye.
Yeah, I don't think it. So, like, that's the thing with like the Lions. Like, I think we should caveat this heavily with saying this entire build is contingent upon the Lions getting the one seed. They currently are leading for that one seed.
Yeah. Although even if they get the 5 seed, I do like them to beat the Rams.
Yes, I do like them to beat. I just don't think like so. So Sean McVay beat a Vikings team coming off a very short week earlier this year.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to just pull this back, trying to see who. And I think they beat. I don't know. I don't think they've have not beaten. And they got absolutely trounced by the Lions in the first game of the season. Right. Yes,
Yeah.
but that was also when they didn't have Puka, and I was like, oh, God, it's such a different box score, man. This is like Cooper Kupp with 110 yards, and Puka got hurt again. David Montgomery was out there cucking Gibbs. Jameson Williams went off. Like a real honest. Yeah, like Jameson Williams is interesting. Sam Laporta is an interesting player as well, but I really think I prefer Jameson Williams. But I also see a lot, like from a Lions perspective, I see a lot more people like just going in on Jameson Williams as like the sharp pivot, and like it might not working out.
Yeah. So when we're talking Vikings who might also get a bye, is there anyone? I mean, we talked about Darnold as the galaxy brain. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Jordan Addison would be the.
Are you tempted by Addison or TJ Hawkinson?
Not really.
Or
no, not Hawkinson at all. If anything, it'd probably be Aaron Jones. Because they really haven't. Because like, he just gets all the touches, right? Like we don't have him here, but he does get all the touches. But the reason I don't have him in here is because you're competing with Justin Jefferson ownership. Was going to catch a lot of ownership.
I know this is the one team where I think you could see a player get to like 80 or 90%.
Well, like Justin Jefferson being, so I think Justin Jefferson would be that 80% player, right? I think Justin Jefferson gets to the 80%. I think Josh Allen gets to the 80%. Well, not really. I think he gets to like 70. I think Justin Jefferson,
because you can only play one quarterback, so I don't.
Yeah, but like I think Justin Jefferson, and then it's going to be Josh Allen. I think this is going to be what makes this contest, this one really fun, is because there's like it's really really open after those first few handful of guys. If anything, Travis Kelce catches a lot of ownership. I think
that's true. Yeah, he'll get a lot.
Actually, I'm gonna message Pat and ask him if like he has his sheet up and running, because I'd like to before I get busy with work this week, I want to start at least putting something down somewhere before I forget everything.
All right, so if this is one where not an Eagles loss in the first round, because that would be a
well, this is more like the Eagles are forced to play ball type situation, right?
Yeah. But it's not as crazy as a Packers win and you want to play Josh Jacobs or Jaden Reed.
Yeah. Well, Jaden Reed doesn't exist, dude.
Right.
He's not a real person.
Did you do anything today?
No. Although I will say, man, like
Damian Wicks.
No, just play Dobbs.
Dobbs didn't play today.
No, Malik Heath
he'll
played.
Probably be back.
I will say I still want to given that Bryce Young improved. I want to be on record saying this. Given that Bryce Young really improved from year 1 to year 2, I'm gonna hold out hope for Caleb Williams to improve from year 1 to year 2.
Yeah. There's so many variables there that, I mean, a lot could change. So, and he's got a way better supporting cast around him.
Right. I'm wondering if the way we've built this team, it's not a Josh Jacobs in the flex team.
No, it is not a Josh Jacobs in the flex team at all.
I know.
I actually think that we could probably play Mark Andrews as a tight end, and then probably with Xavier Worthy.
I was kind of thinking the same thing. I just didn't want to rain on Blair's Rashad Bateman parade.
No, that's all right. I'll get Bateman and some other teams. He'll win the contest, but you guys don't have to share in that one. I'll keep that money for myself.
I'm having fun being poor. Okay. We still have plenty of. By the way, guys, we do have plenty of time before we submit these lineups, so we will probably be pivoting a little bit. I know this is how to win the 500K FFPC challenge. We have come close, so it's just a question of how, right? so we are fading the Steelers, right? Like,
Yeah.
Well, so we're kind of fading the Ravens too
how?
by not
Because
playing
Josh
Derrick Henry. Yeah. So I wonder if it makes
But
sense.
how are we fading the Ravens if because we're fading Derrick Henry? Walk me through that, because Mark Andrews is probably going to be the wide receiver one next week.
I mean, it just seems like in a Ravens win, is it not Henry the guy you want? I don't know. I mean, Lamar is
Maybe
the
it's
guy you want.
Lamar's the guy you want.
I think if you're not playing Lamar or Henry, then you're playing more for a Ravens loss.
Then a Buffalo Bills win.
So maybe you're also playing. Maybe this is.
So maybe the
consider
play is
Najee
Lamar.
Harris.
Maybe the play is Lamar at quarterback. And Khalil Shakir at wide receiver.
Yeah,
I
I
don't
just
hate
did
that, but
I just jumped into Mark Andrews' stat explorer. In that first game against Pittsburgh in Pittsburgh, he only had 4.2 points, and that's like in the middle of his run of. I mean, he's essentially been a tight end one every game except for against Pittsburgh and against Denver since week 6. It's not even essentially. It's literally he's been a tight end one every week except for that. The second game against Pittsburgh, he had 13.8. This is PPR too, so just in the stat explorer. So it's not tight end premium, but still. I mean, at least they kind of held him to. They held Andrews at least in that the first game for sure.
You want to share your screen too? We'll all share.
I guess
something.
we can just keep
we
jumping.
all share something. Yeah.
You can actually get tight end premium scoring in the Stat Explorer.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, there it is.
Yeah, there we go. So yeah, right. It is that Pittsburgh game where he really wasn't, didn't put up points, but yeah, week 16 against Pittsburgh, he was pretty good. I guess I'm trying to figure out whether the way we've built this team is a Steelers upset over the Ravens in the first.
Wait, are you sharing screen? Because I can't see it, Kevin.
I was. There.
There we go.
Oh, you stopped sharing yours.
Yeah.
Great.
Oh, because you can actually show.
Yeah, because I don't need you to stop doing that. I can switch between them.
We're learning new things.
I am. Let's see. This would be Pittsburgh playing in Baltimore. It's looking good for Derrick Henry, right?
I think so.
Steelers are not that good against the run. They're not that good against the pass either.
They're not good. They're not. It's a shame because the Steelers, I think, really have fallen off hard.
Yeah. So, right. So just my question is, if you're not playing Lamar, if you're not playing Derrick Henry, are you implicitly saying you think the Ravens might lose to the Steelers?
Yes.
And in that case, do you want to play Harris or Pickens, or maybe those are the only names you think about?
You don't have to stack that game up, though.
I'm not talking about stacking it. I'm talking about playing for the Steelers to win and to get more than one game.
The game's in Baltimore, right?
Yeah.
What's the weather report?
Oh, yeah. It's pretty snowy here.
Yeah, it's pretty snowy here,
a week
too.
away.
So they're playing next Sunday, Saturday. Well, either way, it's going to be like just smash mouth football weather. Light wind, right around freezing.
Beautiful.
So
Najee
typical
Harris weather.
AFC or Derrick Henry weather.
I know, but we took Derrick Henry out of this lineup already.
What if we put him back in? Who says we can't have a 3 running back lineup?
I mean, I thought the reason. Well, I don't know. That was one of the questions.
But then, like, I guess then that's like the issue is then like who do you play at like tight end?
That is an issue.
Because who are your viable tight ends here, right?
Right. It's Kelsey.
Oh, Will Disley.
Disley. Oh man.
Because Dalton Kincaid ain't that guy, right?
No.
Right.
Well, I brought up Hawkinson. I mean, maybe Tucker Kraft. Goddard.
Tucker Kraft. But like Packers are probably a fade team, dude.
Even in a game where you're not playing, or on a team where you're not playing Saquon.
Aaron Jones is about to take. Is that Aaron Jones or that Cam Akers? That's Cam Akers.
If you're not playing Saquon Barkley, then you maybe are playing for the Eagles to also lose in round 1. In which case, maybe the way
I think you play for the
game,
Eagles. I think you play for the Eagles to lose round 2, right? Like, and I think that makes AJ Brown just a fine play because if they lose in round 2, it means they've had to throw more and they've had to ice out Saquon. Right?
does it make Goddard a play you'd consider?
Is Goddard back? I know he was on IR.
He was gonna come. I mean, he was activated off IR, and I think obviously they didn't play him because they were resting all their starters. But he did play. Yeah, he had 6 targets, 55 yards. Yeah, I wasn't paying attention to this game with Tanner McKeon at quarterback. But yeah, Goddard played 4 catches for 55 yards. Yeah, I think tight end is pretty thin, which actually makes Andrews possibly a little chalkier than we're thinking.
Yeah, in which case, I think I'd much rather play Kelsey than at that point.
I mean, I still think Kelsey's going to be the
chalk tight end.
Chalk, but outside of Kelsey,
but then
Andrews,
would you play Sam Laporta?
Yeah, I would.
Yes.
Well, you also need the Chiefs you also need the Chiefs to play 3 games, and you also need Kelsey to be the guy in the Super Bowl.
So we're playing. Oh, this is such a weird team because we basically don't have any good chief.
It's a very illogical. We don't have a chief in yet.
We don't have a chief, and any chief we're gonna put in is gonna be the kind of chief you would play if you thought they were gonna lose to the Texans or the Chargers.
Pretty much, yeah. Because who are you gonna? Because you can't really choose between Pacheco and then you got Hunt in there as well, right? Like this. That's why I think Mahomes will probably get a little bit more ownership because you just would want to have. And I think that the only way you play that is Mahomes is Chiefs win the Super Bowl. That's it. Like I think that's or Chiefs make the Super Bowl, and it's going to be a high shootout affair, right?
Suppose the Steelers win and they beat the Ravens, and then they beat the Chiefs. Who would you want from the Steelers in that case?
Why just Pickens?
Maybe we should play Pickens then on this lineup because we don't have a Chief.
Damn it, dude!
And we don't have, and we have a kind of Mark Andrews is kind of.
All right, but who are you fading?
I mean, Still maybe the Broncos.
Okay.
Because, well, I mean, we'll get to that. Ooh, this is starting to get kind of spicy. This is a little bit interesting. We could probably get pretty chalky from here. Like we could keep Jefferson.
We don't
in this
have to get
lineup.
chalky though. We don't have to get chalky.
No, I mean it's already outside enough. We could keep Jefferson and Puka in this lineup and McLaurin and probably be okay.
I actually don't think McLaurin's going to be like chalk.
Okay.
I think we could soft fade I think because of who we're playing with our running back selection, I think we have to soft fade or full fade Washington.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. Right?
And and the Broncos. Yeah. That makes sense. And maybe
But like I don't think we need a full fade. We need a second full fade, so choose one.
I guess the Packers, but I don't love it because they're a chalky.
Yeah, I don't love it because they could have won because they could win. Like, I don't love that
especially
one either,
since we're playing AJ Brown.
Yeah,
this is why I said maybe this is a Josh Jacobs team too.
Yeah, so he's the fade the Texans then.
Oh right,
the Texans or the Chargers, one of those.
That is who you said you wanted to fade was the Texans.
Right?
But the Chargers could also go in there as well. Like it's got to be one of those two.
But you can play the Chargers kicker, right?
You could play Chargers kicker, but then we're fading both sides of that game.
Oh, we're just saying no points are going to be scored, or whoever wins is like not necessarily worth it.
So somebody's going to win. Maybe you play McConkey and Zane Gonzalez.
Right, that's what I was saying. Is that like you play Zane, right?
Yeah. And then McConkey at wide receiver.
Oh, God.
And I know you are resistant to this, but I think this is a Josh Jacobs team.
This guy fucking loves Josh Jacobs, man.
I don't love Josh Jacobs, okay? But we're playing AJ Brown, which to me feels like playing for an Eagles loss.
I don't know. I don't think so.
I don't know. What do you think, Kevin? Is Josh Jacobs too crazy?
No, I don't think Josh Jacobs is crazy, but I also don't. I mean, the Eagles are playing. Who are they playing in round one?
The Packers.
The Packers?
Yeah.
Oh.
Right?
Yeah.
I know. It's hard to see the Packers winning that game, but if the
Eagles
lose,
right?
you want Saquon. I mean, if the Eagles win, you want Saquon.
You mean the Eagles win, you want Saquon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So is it easier than just to a Saquon Barkley team and then move?
Well, we also don't have.
Hang on, how about
we're basically, I guess, what are we playing? The Chiefs defense?
Yeah, we kind of have to. We need a Chief still.
Yeah.
Right. So how about this?
So the only issue, and the reason we did fade Saquon on this team is because they're most likely to play the Bucs in the second round, and we were not sure about that matchup for Saquon.
This is still very chaos, dude. This is a very. I like it. It's a very chaotic team.
I know. It is a chaotic team, but I also want it to make sense from a kind of
what's the story that we're telling here?
Exactly.
The scenario we're telling here, guys.
The scenario I think is that the Bucs beat the Eagles in round 2.
Yeah, the Bucs. Well, but then we have Saquon in here.
That's why we didn't have him in there before.
All right. So we're going back to AJ Brown. We have a lot of McConkey in here. Do we really think that? Oh man, we haven't even discussed the possibility of the Chargers. Well, they're probably not going to beat the Chiefs, but like Ladd in a loss would be nuts, right? Like he would still probably put together good points.
I think what we're banking on in this scenario is that the Steelers actually beat the Ravens, and then they play the Chiefs, and then the Bills would play the Chargers.
Man, that's such a bad scenario. It's such a bad desire. Like, is there any way? Hang on. How about this? And this becomes Josh Jacobs. Does this make a little bit more sense? Broncos and Steelers are your fades. Josh Jacobs is in there. Mark Andrews, Zane Gonzalez, Xavier Worthy. Do you think this makes a little bit more sense?
Maybe. No, yeah, maybe. Except I liked the Steelers in there when we have Mark Andrews in there instead of Derrick Henry or Lamar.
So then, how about this? So if you made this Derek, so if you made this Travis Kelce, and then made this Derrick Henry, but now we're just eating chalk.
Now we're back to the chalk.
Yeah, now we're just saying it's just all chalk. So where do we play Josh Jacobs?
So
it's also really hard to do this without having like the software limitations of
the player pool.
Yeah,
I think that we play Jacobs instead of Worthy, and we play the Chiefs defense, or maybe Harrison Butker or something.
Oh my god, that is spicy.
Yeah, this is a crazy. Okay, this is a crazy
line. I actually don't mind. I don't actually.
But we should play it probably. Maybe in the 35 though.
I don't look. I genuinely don't hate it. Right, like when you think of it from like the perspective of like who. I'm pulling up the Vegas props right now.
This one's probably gotten a little bit too off the board, but I want to be able to tell a story that makes sense and a lineup that makes sense of that story.
So the Chiefs are favored to win, then the Lions, and then the Ravens, and then the Bills, right? So if anything, if you want to go, So if you want to do anything, then I think realistically, if you want to really open up our team, you move away from Josh Allen, put in Lamar, move a running back over to James Cook, and then go from there.
Why don't we do that in a separate spreadsheet so we keep this one? Because I do kind of like the way it's turning out, even though it's crazy.
Well, we don't have to put in a separate spreadsheet. We could
I'm in a separate column. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, God. All right, guys. Here's like the dirty secret. When you start building these, it's like crack. All right. Had I known we were going to be doing this, I would have, Lamar Jackson.
Share this spreadsheet with me.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't have to do it now, but
I'll do it right now.
Yeah, I mean, I don't love taking Worthy out and putting Jacobs in. Obviously, that's like the antithesis.
No, you absolutely love it. This guy comes second in Scott Fishbowl, picking his running back. Like, he's the last person in the entire tournament to pick his running back in a scoring format that is like basically cracked for like running backs. And now he's like, oh, I love me some Josh Jacobs. Oh, I love me some Derrick Henry. Oh, I need more Saquon Barkley.
My first running back pick actually was in Scott Fishbowl. Was Marshawn Lloyd. That's how much I love Josh Jacobs.
That's much. Yeah, okay. I'll believe when I see it.
No.
So what is the play here?
This is the opposite of the way I would normally want to build a team, but I just think it makes sense with the other decisions we've made on this team. I think that's the build that makes sense.
Yeah.
I don't know. All right.
We will have to keep
Lamar. We're going to need to also build a Derrick Henry team that makes sense too.
Oh God! Okay, so now we're just like getting just this. See, Kevin, this is what happens when you start doing this.
Maybe that's Jalen Hurts and Derrick Henry.
Ooh.
Or Jaden Daniels and Derrick Henry. That could be interesting too.
Ooh.
I like both of those ideas.
Oh.
How like realistic do you think that it is that the Commanders get deep in the playoffs? Like I see them winning round one, maybe, but like getting, like how deep do you really
think get in here, guys? Where is everybody? Why?
So they'd have to play almost certainly the Lions or the Vikings, unless somehow the Packers win. Mm-hmm. Actually, they'd probably have to play the Lions or the Vikings either way, because probably one of those teams would beat the Rams.
Yeah.
So it is difficult to see them getting very far against either one of those teams who are both very good. Yeah, maybe Daniels is a little too thin for this contest.
Jaden Daniels.
Maybe. I mean, Kevin
Yeah,
brings up a good point. It's hard to see the Commanders winning more than one game.
All right, actually, can we just solidify one thing before we start branching off, right?
I guess so.
For the audio listeners, the team that we initially came up with is Josh Allen at quarterback, Jahmyr Gibbs, Bucky Irving, Ladd McConkey, Justin Jefferson, Puka Nacua, AJ Brown, Xavier Worthy, George Pickens.
Jacobs.
Wait, where?
No, I'm just saying. I'm trying to get you to switch it.
Where? Who do you want me to switch to Josh Jacobs? I'll do it.
I want Jacobs in for Worthy, and I want
this fucking guy loves Josh Jacobs, man.
I guess I want
defense, right?
Butker in for Gonzalez and Washington full fade.
All right.
Yeah.
Oh, sicko, man. What is that? That's the most sicko yeah you'll ever hear on this channel.
Gotta get those elite kickers in there.
Yeah, why aren't we putting Justin Tucker in there, dude?
Yeah, well, that's the other key to my Scott Fishbowl win, actually, believe it or
not. Justin Tucker? Yeah, he came on. He's gotten over it.
Tucker, Butker, Tyler Bass, they were in my lineup almost every week.
Yeah. All right, but it's Josh Allen, Jahmyr Gibbs, Bucky Irving, Ladd McConkey, Justin Jefferson, Puka Nacua, AJ Brown, Josh Jacobs, George Pickens, Mark Andrews, Harrison Butker, Texans DST, and we're full fading the Broncos and Washington. It tells a story.
Yeah, it's a story that might be as hard to believe. I do not recommend submitting this lineup. But
yeah, we're gonna probably work on this.
But I like it.
But we're gonna have to probably work on this. Maybe I think one of us will write up something on what we actually submitted and the story it tells. And by one of us, I'm looking at my co-hosts.
All right. So let's move on.
We're gonna try and quickly build a Lamar Jackson lineup, and then we can get you guys out of here.
What time is it? Yeah, we don't want to go too long. Because also this is a lot of fun.
It just gets really addicting because you get. This is the issue, right? Like we have a week full of shows. Join us on Ship Chasing at some point. God knows when, but there's a lot of content being pumped around this contest, and so a lot of brain power goes into this, and it's just so addicting, man. It's a perfect send off to the season. But we're pivoting gears now to a Lamar Jackson team.
Yeah, maybe how do you want to play this? To end the show is just talk about when you're starting with Lamar Jackson instead of Josh Allen.
It really changes what you can do.
Yeah. How, what different kinds of things are you looking for in that case? Like, obviously, I think it makes more sense to fade the Steelers for one thing.
Yeah, easy fade on the Steelers there.
And probably a fade on the Bills because that's
not necessarily a fade on the Bills, but like.
Not a fade, but I mean, you're playing Shakir there instead of James Cook. Maybe.
Yeah, you're probably playing Shakir for sure. Oh, by the way, the Ravens, the spread for the Ravens has like moved. Right, it opened at -8. It's now like -10.
Yeah.
So like, I really don't think that the Josh Allen, George Pickens team is going to be the final submission.
Yeah.
We could actually probably swap in Terry McLaurin and swap out Pickens.
Yeah, maybe in a different team. I just love the way this one all came together. It's like the perfect nonsensical team.
Oh God.
Anyway, if you're talking Lamar Jackson now, I think Saquon as somebody to go far on the other side.
Yeah. I think it does also open up like actually playing if you're playing the Chiefs to make the Super Bowl, you can definitely play one of their pass catchers.
Yeah, Kelsey makes sense probably.
Kelsey makes not just I think Kelsey makes sense just in general. But I think if you're looking from a perspective of a team that can actually push them, force them to go down, then you are looking at Xavier Worthy or Hollywood Brown, right? Hollywood, I think, is going to be a really interesting sneaky pivot.
Okay, you want to put him in this lineup?
Hollywood?
I don't know.
Hollywood Brown. Are we just eating the chalk at JJ?
Well, that's a good question.
Or do you play Gibbs? Do you play Gibbs? I actually really do think Amon-Ra might be like a good like fade off the top wide receivers just because of Jameson Williams, Sam Laporta, and Gibbs.
You mean you would rather play Jameson or Laporta?
I might rather play Jameson.
Why don't we do Jameson?
Has Jameson done much in this game?
I don't think so, but
this has been like actually kind of a dead game, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, they only have 10 points, so I doubt he's done much. He's got 2 catches for 17 yards. Yeah, why don't we play Jameson? Because if you're thinking the Eagles make the Super Bowl, then
you know who's a really interesting player
through
on
the Lions.
A really interesting pivot off of JJ would be Aaron Jones. I think realistically this comes down to because Aaron Jones tonight has 6 targets and he's got 5 of them for 30 yards.
Yeah. And Cam Akers is the leading rusher.
Yeah, because he had one massive run. I mean, we can still like obviously like debate, discuss. We're not submitting these yet. This player pool time up yet.
All right, well, let's put Jameson in. I think I like that call. That's a good call.
Look at that, one time for me. One time.
And I think this is this a Nico or McConkey lineup as well?
I don't know. I think you just go McConkey. Well, one of the two. You guys let me the story, man.
I don't know. It's hard to tell a story for those teams because even if one of them beats the Ravens in the second round, do you want to play Justin Herbert?
So you have to. So I guess the story here that is playing catch up. In which case, you'd rather want. I think just because the Chargers are favored on the look ahead, I think you'd rather have Lad McConkey, right?
Yeah. All right.
And Texans becomes like the hard fade.
You can actually play both of them probably.
But Nico and
McConkey.
I don't think so. I don't think you want to do that. Who are you gonna play the defense?
Well, one of the teams is going to lose, obviously, but that's the case for 2 of our flex players anyway.
Yeah, but if you want to lose anyone, you'd rather be the defense and the kicker, right?
But we're going to have to lose 2 flex players. At least.
Are you guys enjoying how much fun we have making these lineups?
Do you think? Well, I don't know, Kevin. What do you think of playing Nico and McConkey in the same lineup? Is that too cute?
Yeah, I don't. I mean, I'd rather if we're gonna play somebody off or both those teams, I'd rather just throw one in like a kicker or defense, just kind of like just
right
for a deal.
So then, how about you play Nico here?
All right, put Nico in here,
and then put like Dicker.
Yep. Okay.
Right, but God, that feels so bad, man. Yeah, it feels bad because like. Well, I mean, it just feels bad because sitting there with like a Nico 9-pointer.
I mean, I love Nico more. I love Nico more than most. I think he's awesome. He's one of my favorite players in the league. But at the same time, I just feel so not awesome about
watching Josh Jacobs existing.
Just like I don't think the Texans are going to win. I just honestly just feel like
I don't think they're going to win at all. I mean, Vegas doesn't either.
Yeah. So I'd rather have McConkey because you're getting 2 weeks worth of points out, or you don't know, but we hope that we're getting.
You're optimistic.
All
The
right.
betting markets are saying
So that's Fairbairn.
where did Fairbairn come from? It feels like a very like Samoan name.
Don't know.
Yeah, I can't pronounce his last name, dude. It's like I think it's like 45 letters long. He is born in Kailua, Hawaii.
There you go. All right, so this is Lamar, Saquon, Aaron Jones, Conkey, Williams. We don't have a bill yet. Maybe it's Shakir, and we play for the Broncos to beat them. What do you think of that?
Oh no way, dude! That's
Woo!
nuts. You're just now you're like a Bo Nick super fan.
Well,
No, I think you play either Shakir or you play James Cook. I think with the Broncos you still fade them, or you play the kicker, or you play the defense.
I think
Right?
you could play Shakir and Sutton in the same lineup.
Oh God, dude! What? I don't want to stack this up.
It's not stacking. You're playing. I mean, you can't avoid having two of your skill position players lose in round one. That's going to happen.
But you can try.
No, you can't.
Well,
Because
no. I know.
players
But,
on this team have to lose
okay, but hang on.
if you're counting fade as position.
I'm not counting fade as position.
All right.
So
then
like
four
so
players
you
on the
want
team have to lose.
okay. So you want to select the players from the team, the game with the 47.5 total. Okay, so like here's one thing that I will actually say. The Chargers Texans game has the lowest total on the early slip playoff state by far, by the way.
Yeah.
So I don't know if the Fairbairn McConkey could be sneaky in that regard, but like if anything, you probably want to have if anything, you would probably rather have Terry F1.
Okay.
And probably like Mike Evans, maybe.
I like that. That's fine.
Right.
Yeah. So one of those
that game has a 50-point total.
receivers is going to be out, but that's unavoidable. And
Yeah,
that's
that's fine.
That
but
has to happen
just
on the
want,
AFC side too, maybe. So
yeah,
that's why I'm saying I think Sutton is fine in this lineup. But
mm-hmm.
we could also do. We don't have a Chief. Maybe this is Kelsey.
Yeah, this becomes Kelsey because we're already way off the beaten path.
Yeah.
Right.
And we don't have a Ram.
And that probably becomes Puka.
Yeah.
Or well, we could probably play Kyron, but like, why would you play Kyron when like Puka is like just much better?
Right. And we don't have a Steelers fade. We don't have a Packer.
That might become Packers DST.
Could be.
Right.
And we don't have a who else? Who am I missing? Tampa Bay. No, we got them.
We're missing Detroit. We didn't. Oh no, we got Jameson.
Yeah, we got Jameson. See, this is
we have
where
Chargers. We have
having
this
the
is where
player
it helps. Yeah.
Denver.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Denver becomes. Yeah.
Denver becomes the other fade.
Yeah, that's kind of where I wanted to be anyway.
I think that makes sense. I think probably you could.
Oh my goodness, Jahmyr Gibbs just with another sick move to put Detroit ahead. Well ahead.
Yeah.
All right, you can't stop it, Jahmyr Gibbs.
All right, there you go. We've built a second team. It's even better than the first one. Lamar Jackson.
I actually prefer this a lot more.
You prefer the second one? The real team? Okay, this is the real team.
But we might
subject to change.
Yeah, it's all subject. If one of my co-hosts will be writing a column about this.
Lamar Jackson, Saquon Barkley, Aaron Jones, Lad McConkey, Jameson Williams, Khalil Shakir, Terry McLaurin, Mike Evans, Puka Nacua, Travis Kelce, Kaimi Fairbairn, Packers defense, which means full fade on the Steelers and the Broncos. Certainly the most popular full fades in the contest, I would guess. Although the Packers are going to be popular too.
Yeah, little sneak peek. I think I've got Steelers in Denver right now in my Boomer Opto.
There you go for the full fades. All right. This was fun, and I'm sure we're going to be building a ton more of these teams. It's you can see how even though it's a simple kind of rule set, it becomes a pretty complicated discussion pretty quickly once you try and figure out how these different scenarios play out, which is part of what makes it so fun.
Yeah, it has to be logical, tell a story, and yeah, man, I actually really like this team more I think about it.
All right, there we go. Yeah, and you talk yourself into whatever teams you end up building. No matter what.
You do that,
So,
and you can see the psychosis take place in real time.
There we go. All right. Anything else before we get out of here?
No, but please rate, review, watch our content. Yell at us if you have to. We can be found on Blue Sky and on Twitter. Yeah, you can find. We don't do this one often, but I can be found on Blue Sky as at Bihari Kebab. Which, if you haven't tried it, do yourself a favor and give it a shot.
There you go. Perfect way to end. Make sure to look out for all of Kevin's work coming up. He's doing a lot of stuff on the prospect profiles and the bowl game previews, so you don't want to miss any of that. He's giving you a nice head start on dynasty rookie drafts, on best ball drafts. Those rookies are going to be, you're going to have to get up to speed on them pretty quick. So Kevin's here to help you out with that. Make sure to check that out. And that will do it for us. Until next time, have a good week. I don't know if we'll be back next week, but we'll do something. So talk at you later.